Well, all right, let me put it like this. For about 20 years, I ran away from this song.
So, about a year ago, I was on a mission to find out everything I could about this rap song. Why? Well, to be honest, I was kind of obsessed with it. It's an amazing song from the electro hip hop era, and there was virtually nothing about it on the internet. I ended up tracking down the songwriters and putting out this video. However, there was one glaring omission. I was never able to locate the vocalist, the one who delivered these lines with that raw, edgy flow. But that's all changed. Just recently, by the good graces of the internet, IRT's lead singer had dropped into the comments section, and he's here now to correct the record. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out the original video first. Alright, you ready? Let's dive in.
I personally had been playing metal and heavy rock since I've been in high school. I had a band of all black kids that were playing rock and roll, Rush, more than a feeling.
Boston. It will probably come as no surprise that, like his bandmates in IRT, Steve Sells, who now goes by C Major, did not exactly set out for a career in hip hop.
Why I went to New York is because I thought it was a possibility of playing rock and roll music. I had already seen the Bad Brains in DC. In '77, I was at CBGB's watching J.J. Cale, who wrote Cocaine and all them. And that's actually where I met the Beastie Boys at CBGB's. They were punk band.
Yeah, that's right.
People don't even know. They're punk band. I personally wanted to be a rocker. So doing rap music for me was a genre that I also thought was a part and could be a part of rock.
C grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, the son of civil rights leaders who took him around the country, in particular to New York, where his sister was a ballet dancer in the Dance Theater of Harlem. So, when did you first come into contact with hip hop? Was that in New York?
1974.
74.
Yeah, I mean, just right when they were moving it. I was in Harlem, so you go across the 149th Street Bridge, you in the Bronx, South Bronx. My mother didn't want me to do a lot of it. I mean, up until '76, I was going around with my parents.
I'm curious, that's just like in the early days, like 74. The videos I've seen are of big block parties at in the projects.
Yeah, I mean, they call me country boy. I mean, I was there, I was hanging. It wasn't as bad as people think, but I mean, it was rough. And I mean, I needed people to take me in because
you were young.
I was young, and my mother was watching my sibling, do ballet.
In 1981, C decided to relocate to New York full-time, hitchhiking his way from Cincinnati. And indeed, it was a chance encounter at a Xerox store that landed him a spot in IRT.
So we had to do the vocals, and I went to the Xerox store on 86th and Broadway, and I said, can I have 20 copies of this? And the kid, did it, and he's looking at it, and he said, what is this? And I said, it's a rap.
She's got it right, to the point where she laid down the lyrics. I was like, what is this? It's a poem? And she said, no, this is a rap song. I said, wow, I can do this. I didn't say I was a rapper. I said, oh, I can do this. And I started rapping it to her right then and there. Hip hop aboard the IRT at the kids' South
Yeah.
I'll take care of you. And they weren't really finished. I wrote the line, Preppy Girls Intellectualized. I switched the line from, they had somebody else, James Brown, and I said Prince. I got tickets to Prince and you're looking pretty. Oh, Juanita looking sweeter from end to end. A few others. I wrote a bunch of stuff.
He was not very experienced in the studio. He was nervous. I remember that.
He wasn't hip. He was the antithesis of hip. He wasn't a street kid, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was a little more worldly than what they thought of rappers at the time.
As C explained to me, this led to some awkward moments when it came to promoting the band.
Yeah, they wrote they found me off the street. So I talked to my sister, and she was like, you signed a contract, they got every right to say anything they want to.
That was how the band was promoted? They said you were a street kid? when they were pushing it?
I was, but I wasn't. I'm a street kid. My father made his beginnings in Cincinnati in the hood, so I knew the cats in the hood, always, and private school, and the richest of riches in Cincinnati.
But the strategy was apparently working. As soon as the record came out, they could tell something special was happening. The first show they played was at the Roxy, where IRT was booked alongside Gloria Gaynor and Curtis Blow. As Watch the Closing Doors rose the ranks on the Billboard Dance Chart, C Major, along with backup singers Heidi and Nisha Dudley, gave performances up and down the East Coast.
You literally just played a single song?
Oh yeah, for the first year, it was just one song, and I mean, it paid pretty well. They did a good job.
Was that a weird feeling, just like you're landing in North Carolina, you're getting to the venue, and then you're sound checking, but then after 3.5 minutes, it's over?
No, very few times did you had a sound check.
Wow, so it's even less time than what I thought. It's just...
I mean, you give the guy the cassette with it lined up, at the top, and they run it. Boom, it's the track, and it goes.
On March 10th, Watch the Closing Doors peaked at number 6, a very promising debut for the young group.
Did it surprise you seeing the success of the record?
Well, I mean, the show that I did at the Roxy went really well. I mean, people were yelling out, "You're gonna be a star." I was like, oh my God, really? No. So, let me go on down here and put up some mics tomorrow.
While all this was happening, C had taken another job at Rocket Studios as an engineer, and this was opening up some other doors.
I was setting up for Cyndi Lauper. I was setting up for Black Uhuru, Third World, Still Pulse, and making friendships. Africa Bambaataa used to come in there all the time, and the Zulu Nation. I had a conversation with George.
With George Clinton?
Yeah. And Clip and I've known Clip I've known the band.
C invited them to come jam at his rehearsal space.
So they all came down. Clip, Michael Hampton.
As C was gaining experience as an engineer and becoming more savvy with the music business, he started to question his arrangement with IRT.
Vicky hadn't wrote most of those lyrics, but I didn't know even if you wrote one line, you're supposed to be a writer.
Oh.
Heard yourself on the radio already. And you go to the store to go get your record and you look on the back and you don't see your name. And you're like, oh, I have no regrets about my time in IRT. I have regrets about the things that they did in IRT, but not in my time in IRT.
Is that mainly related to like you never getting songwriting credits, or is it also in relation to them not willing to go the direction you presented, or them not taking you seriously as a songwriter?
Well, that third one is the kicker. Them not taking me serious as a songwriter.
When IRT was working on their third single, C recommended his composition, Black New Wave, but the band turned it down. C would later release it as Brand New Wave with his band 4DC.
It's a brand new wave. Oh, it's a brand new wave.
IRT would choose When Bad Things Happen, which featured new lead vocalist Russell Velasquez.
Bad things happen too good, when bad things happen too good.
Who, by the way, would later contribute vocals to the Pokemon soundtrack.
We all live in a Pokemon world.
Just an interesting side note.
I mean, I signed out of the record thing because they didn't want to play my third song. And I realized at that point in time, either I get out now when I can, or I'm going to be stuck in this record thing.
Due to his contract with RCA, C was unable to continue releasing music as Steve Sells, even though this was, in fact, his birth name. This is why we were unable to find him for an interview during the original video. The band parted ways with rapper Steve Sells, who, to my knowledge, was never again credited on a major release.
Oh man, I went through all the different movements, different names. I just took my middle name, which was Charles, and made it C.
Aha! Indeed, much like his counterparts in IRT, Steve has had a prolific career making records, engineering records, performing, and teaching. One of his notable songwriting credits is the track Goodies by Deborah Dolce, a song that was featured in major films like Our Family Wedding and Surrogates. The track was also remixed by German techno artist Fuck Off.
If you had to narrow it down, let's say the 3 tracks or records that you're most proud of.
They're not even out.
I like that. I like that mentality.
No, it's not even that. I'm going to put them out sooner or later. This was the CD that never got released with 4DC. I'm trying to put this on the internet, and there was a song she called Feast Upon It, and it just was, it was an R&B roll. In 2020, I was asked to write a rock opera. So I told, no, I'm not going to write a rock opera. I'm going to write a punk rock opera. And I'm going to pin it on, my coming to New York all the way up to I did the IRT record. And so I wrote the script and I wrote a bunch of stuff, and I'm still looking for people to back it. I don't want to disparage Randy and Vicky. They gave me my intro to the music business 101. My mentor, Ronnie Drayton, God rest his soul, told me, the hardest thing in music is to work. And, Randy and Vicky, they helped me work.
What advice would you have for someone similar to you, someone who is just a lover of music, multi-instrumentalist, trying to start out today?
It's hard. All I can tell them is, get as many people behind your music as possible. That's really it. It doesn't even matter if your music is good. Just get as many people as you can behind your music as possible. Whatever you can do. Because if you got 13,000 people listening to your music, bro, you will get signed.
There's a quote often attributed to Andy Warhol that in the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. In a way, it's a testament to the cruelty of the music business, that success can be so fleeting. You can blink and the glory days are gone. But in another sense, it can also be inspiring. We don't need to worship only lifelong celebrities that are propped up by big money. A ragtag group of musicians can manage to top the charts all the same. If you have to spend the rest of your career writing music for PBS, for Pokemon, or for Bruce Willis movies, well, that's something a lot of us would envy nonetheless. Plus, if RCA ever does get around to releasing IRT digitally, I wouldn't rule out a TikTok resurgence. Just please don't take down my videos. Alright guys, a huge thank you to C Major Steven for joining me on this video. And just a reminder that you're on Bandsploring, the sister channel to Bandsplaining. So give a like and a follow so you can get notifications for more videos like this. Alright.